everybody. Thanks for joining us again. So last year, So Long was such a success that we wanted to do it again. It's been months. I hope everybody can hear me okay. Again, one thing to go over before we start anything is Bell Telephone did not get the fiber internet. So we are still going to be racked with the same upstreaming that we had last year. So hopefully our weather will be fine and we'll be able to do this a little bit better than what it was last year. We're learning stuff as we go. So last year, So Long was such a success that we really wanted to do it again. Trying to figure out what to do. We're just racking our brains. We thought maybe applique. We thought maybe of calendar blocks that you could do for wall hangings, a pre-cut friendly series, maybe small quilts that you could put together. But nothing was really getting me excited. So finally, Tiff asked me, she goes, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I just want to sew with everyone. I want to show them that a difficult looking quilt is easy and you can do it, especially with the tools that we have available today. So the kid says, well, what about my latest quilt that I'm working on? I've been needing to write the pattern and this would get it accomplished. So I said a resounding yes. So I got really excited. Finally, I thought this is the way that we're going to go. So introducing, bring it right forward. Bring it forward. Okay. This is Floating Stars by Tiffany Bergeron. So pattern available in 3 different sizes. Now remember that we are again a sew along, so nothing is totally programmed or ready to do. So the pattern is debuting right now, and it's only available on our sew along for now. We should have a full pattern for purchase shortly after our sew along is finished, if you so desire and want to purchase a full pattern. But right now, the only way we're going to do it is again like we did last year, and we're going to have our cutting instructions out. And then we're going to give the instructions live while we go. Just so you can see the other 2, here is a lap size quilt. This one was the double lap size and queen. So depending on what you want to do. So the queen is 95 by 95. The double is 75 by 95. And the lap is 51 by 71. And we will post these pictures on the Facebook group for our So Long after we're done here today. Yeah, we thought maybe we could try to put them on the comments, but I don't know if that's going to work. It's not going to work. Okay, so we're not going to do that. So why am I so excited about this quilt? Well, this is the thing. On first look, I'll take this one. It's a little easier for you to see. At first look, you could think, oh my gosh, that's a heck of a lot of points. It's really pretty, but I don't know if I can do all those points. I'm not experienced. It's too much work. But by working together, we're going to show you that breaking it down into first units and then blocks is going to make this totally doable, even if you are an experienced beginner. So like I always said, my favorite saying is that you can eat an elephant, but only one bite at a time. And we're going to do this one bite at a time. So did I forget anything first that I wanted to say? I don't think so. Okay. So first thing first, we have to choose some fabric. This can either be the most fun part of the quilt or actually the most daunting, depending on the type of person you are. So an artsy person, picking their fabric is actually the best part of the quilt. They get to choose colors and play, like Tiffany, choosing all the fabrics and the colors and playing. Me, not so much. I'm a math person. I remember when I first started out, it was so difficult to choose the fabrics. Are they going to go together? They're talking about tones and values and this. It was really stressful. We're going to help you get over that. And we're going to break it down. So we have a few choices behind us that we're going to go through for the quilt. So first off, we've taken our fabrics and we have made them into a light, medium, and dark for this for the star points. Let me get a block. I have one here somewhere. Where did we put them?
Blocks are on that side.
Ah, there they are. So here is a finished large block. So you can see that the star is made up of 3 different fabrics. We've got a light, a medium, and a dark. So here's where you can start making your quilt your own. Just because we have purple doesn't mean that the quilt has to be purple. And we're going to go over some examples that we have on the quilt. Because there's 2 backgrounds. Oh, what?
Don't show block number 2.
Oh, don't show block number 2?
Leave it a surprise.
Leave it a surprise? Okay, we won't. So we did also design the quilt with 2 background colors. You don't necessarily need 2 background colors. You could choose just 1 background color if you want. We could also decide with your colorways. I have another block as we're going around. You will see we use the light as our large point. You might want to switch these up, and that's your dark point. So when we are talking about the color, we're saying light, medium, and dark. So your light fabric and your medium fabric aren't what most people would consider light and a medium. It could be 2 mediums, just so long as there's a little bit of a value difference, a little bit of contrast in between your points. And as we're looking at some fabrics, we will be doing that purpose as well. So this is what our pattern is going to be. So we're going to be doing light, medium, and dark. But I also
show them the blue way, the other batik way. Did we do a block in that way?
Oh, we didn't do a block in that way yet.
No.
That one's really exciting. But we did do this. So that one was batik, and this one is actual regular cotton. So you can see with this one, we use the darkest fabric or the medium fabric as the point. And then our lightest fabric is into the small point. So depending on your fabric choices, depending on what you feel like that day, you can choose and make it your own. So this is the fabrics that we chose. Can you zoom in or not?
Yeah.
Okay. So our point, that purple one, you can see there's our dark, medium, and light. And then we also need an accent fabric. So the accent is in the center of the star. Here, we'll show you the purple one. So on this one, our first sample, we had this pretty little teal fabric in there. Now we have found this fabric, again, which is teal, but it's picking up some of the purples. So we think that one might be a little bit nicer than the other one. So that's what we would use for our accent fabric. We are going to need 2 backgrounds. So as again, you can see there's background 1. And then there's background 2, which this case happens to be a little bit darker than background 1. Now, if you said this one's too busy, we could always find one that's maybe more of a tone on tone, if that makes you happy in your world. There we go. So we could do something like that instead. Now, I do not have pre-cut kits with any of these, but that's not saying that we couldn't cut something up for you. And if you can't come into the store, we can mail anywhere in Canada. So that's an option as well. And because we can, for an outside border, we would probably use either one of these fabrics, or because I have this beautiful, wonderful, large print and our border is going to be cut larger, that's what we're going to choose to do for our outside border. And like I said, all the fabric requirements will be posted as soon as our live is finished. We'll post them up onto our Facebook group as well as on my website. So here's another way. Maybe purple's not your color. Maybe blue is. So this one's very similar to the same as the other one. We've got our dark, our medium, and our light. And we're using that light term loosely because it's pretty much a medium, but it is lighter than this one. We have two backgrounds this time. So we've got our darker background and we've got this beautiful white because blue and white quilts are so stunning. And again, if you thought that that white was too stark, very successfully, we could choose something with a little bit more of a tone on tone. And because in our brain, we had thought we wanted a blue and yellow quilt, gold, blue and gold quilt, that's going to be our accent fabric. Now, if you didn't think that you liked gold in it, I could pull this other blue in that's brighter than the other ones and use that instead of the accent fabric. So there's a lot of choices that we can do and start playing with the fabric. Go to your, if you can't come here, I'd like you to come here, but if you can't come here, go to your local quilt store, pull out blocks, bolts, and play a little bit.
I also had played with this quilt with black and color, and it worked beautifully too.
And again, this one, we have that wonderful, beautiful sunflower print in these batiks. Now, if batiks are not your thing, some people
that
do
would make this colorway.
Yeah. So if batiks aren't your thing, some people don't like them, believe it or not. We have some cotton ideas here as well. Let me just push these out of the way.
We have a lot of people saying hello and they're glad you're back.
Oh, yay. Thank you.
Excited for this project.
Okay. Okay, I wanted to start with that one. That one's on the bottom. So again, we have the one example that we did. This block right here. Again, we changed this one up, but we still have what I'm calling a light, a medium, and a dark. Now, because our medium fabric has a nice print in it, we chose the green that's in the print for our accent fabric. It also has a little blue in it, and the beige works really wonderfully. And then for our two background fabrics, we have one that's just a tone on tone and one that's a little bit of a print. So that's a really cool option. Really pretty,
Actually,
kind of old-fashioned.
Sorry, show them the small block on this one because it really should be said about the small block on this print.
I don't have it.
It's behind this block.
Behind that block?
Cindy,
Is it behind it?
it's behind the block.
Oh, okay.
I forgot about that.
Here's the one thing that's something to think about, because that's a busier print. When it's a really small pieced block in the center, you can see that you might also almost be losing a few of your points. So that's why we ended up pulling the tone on tone white out. With our smaller block, we're going to probably use the tone on tone as our background fabric number 2. This one, it's not so noticeable because the pieces are larger. So we could use this as our background fabric number 1. Alrighty, so that's another option. We have this Astroline in the store that you could do really wonderfully, keeping it very almost masculine, kind of those denim-y colors. Again, dark, medium, and light. We have an accent color that's this peachy color, and you're thinking, why did she pick the peachy color? This is our background number 2. And there is a little bit of peach in this fabric. So we thought that would work really well. And with a soft tone on tone. So that as well. I hope this is giving you some inspiration. I know I might be going a little bit fast, but we will have these all set aside if you want to come into the store and play with them a little bit. We just received into the store some of the date night fabrics by Moda. So we thought, oh, they would work too. So there's our light and our medium and our dark. Here's our wonderful accent fabric. And then we have 2 backgrounds. And we kept these, because these prints are really quite busy, we kept our backgrounds more solid. So we've got one background that's a grunge, vanilla grunge, and then the other one is this little print. And because we love the fabric so much, we've decided I would definitely like that one for a border, or I could choose this one. Or there's another one of these prints over there that has kind of a yellowy background, which would be absolutely wonderful as well. So I was going to do the blue quilt because we already have a block done of the purple, and somebody has to do the blue quilt. But now I was playing this morning, and this is the Island Batik Lines and Stones designed by Deb Tucker. And I'm really liking how
I
this.
didn't know the fabric was designed by Deb Tucker.
It is.
Oh,
Yeah, it is. So this one is exciting to me. And here's a good example of calling it my light, my medium, and my dark. I think I had it this way. You can see that they're really not a light and a dark, but it's basically fabric 1, fabric 2, fabric 3. These are both a medium, but that's what I'm going to use for my star. I like this one with the lighter blue and the bright beige is going to be my accent fabric. And then I have 2 backgrounds, which might change once I make a block or 2, depending on it might be too busy or I don't like what the lines are doing. But I'm going to definitely try to make a block at first. Our accent fabric, we also said is our first border. Might not so much use our accent fabric for the first border in this one. I might use something else. Again, your borders are, again, someplace where you can put your own spin on it. Now,
speaking of putting your own spin on it, the multi.
That's what I'm going at right now. Some people would like to use some of their stash, and they'd like to sew along. So we thought, can we do this in a scrappy way? We thought, yes, we can, so long as it's a controlled scrappy. So this is the double size. How close am I? Is this? There. Okay, so you can see each star is a different color that we could go out of our stash. Couple things to think about when you're going scrappy. Each star is a single color. It's a light, medium, and dark of a green, or light, medium, dark blue, yellow. So keep your stars a constant color. Then our little friendship stars, which we'll be working on in our sashing, they stayed constant, as well as our small stars. And that's going to give us some continuity to the quilt. It's not going to look like so much of a dog's breakfast, that it's going to be cool. Our accent fabric is actually where we picked our colors from. So it has lots of the multicolors in it. And it's just going to tie everything together, and it'll look like it was supposed to be. Any questions?
Yeah, so we did have a question. Someone asking for a clarification that they can use one background. Yes, absolutely, you can use just one background. You are not going to get quite as dynamic as the purple one doesn't quite look like 2 backgrounds in the picture.
So this one is a single background.
That's
All right, I'm sorry, this is a double background. So you can see that the center stars is the only part that has the different background. That's background number 2. So they stand out a little bit more. This one was actually printed with 2 different backgrounds, but because the backgrounds were so close, it really doesn't show that much. So, great example that you can see, if you were just going to use one background, it will definitely work. Of course, you would have to up your fabric requirements to cover both.
In the black and yellow, is that one background?
The black, yeah, nope. The black and yellow is actually two backgrounds as well,
But again, they look very
but
similar.
again, very similar. So, yeah, I think this would make an absolutely stunning quilt for a little one.
And do you want to read off the sizes of the
Sizes one more time? Sure. So our lap quilt is 51 by 71. Our double quilt is 75 by 95. And the queen size is 95 by 95. If you needed a king size, all you're going to want to do is either zoom up your borders, make our first border 3 instead of 2, make our outside border 8.5 instead of 6, and that would give us a quilt 101.
Yeah, it was something like that. 102,
Around the 101, or put another border on it. I was thinking of something, and now it's gone. Yeah, totally gone.
And we are going to be posting.
Oh, I know what it was.
Pictures.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we also thought, oh, it's a star. Star's Christmas. Should we pull some fabric and see if we could do a Christmas one? Well, we didn't have time to do that because our 1 o'clock was coming up pretty fast. So Tiff has colored it on our EQ, and she will be posting that again on our Facebook group. So if you haven't, make sure that you join our Facebook group, and it's going to be Sew Along 2023.
Cindy B's
Sew Along 2023. So we're not going to be using 2022 anymore. We will have links to the instructions. They'll also be on my website if you're not on Facebook, because we don't want to. We want to include everybody. Okay, so we've picked our fabrics. So now what do we do? Especially with batik. No, I'm not a person to wash fabric. I like to just starch them, but especially with the batiks, they're such strong colors. They're probably going to run. They have a lot of dye in them. So I recommend, if you have to wash one fabric, wash them all and then do the starching. Even more important now than with the regular fabric. A lot of our fabric has points. It's all going to be on bias. So we want to give it a really nice starching so our fabric doesn't have that stretch and it's nice and stiff. So much easier to work with.
You have the starch right behind you.
I do have. My favorite method is Mary Ellen's Best Press Starch, but any starch will do. But I do love a mister bottle. This is just water. But if you give it a pump and you spray, you never get water droplets all over your fabric. It's nice and sprayed.
Evenly dispersed.
Very evenly dispersed. Thank you, Tiffany. Check out on YouTube. I do have a video up there for preparing your fabric. So take a look at it and get your fabric all ready for next week. Yes. Also on YouTube, we have a 1/4 inch seam video, which is really, really important. I've always said, if you can master what your 1/4 inch seam has to be, I hate calling it a scant quarter, whatever. It's whatever you have to sew to make your pieces measure perfectly. So I do have a wonderful video up there as well that goes over the method of how to do it, whether you have a 1/4 inch foot, whether you can move your needle, or whether you have to use some kind of marking.
Did you mention that you have a preparing your fabrics video?
I did.
Sorry, I missed that. I was reading a question from someone asking, are we doing this live like last year? I love that you walked us through everything.
You got her. Yes, we are going to sew every week. So Monday morning, you will get your cutting instructions. And then at 1 o'clock on Mondays, we are going to do whatever unit it is that we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing it exactly all together at live.
Except for next week, you will not get cutting instructions at 10 a.m. You'll be getting them during a stream because we're going to go over some
Yes.
stuff on there
Yes.
next week.
Next week. Yeah, so we've prepared our fabric. We're ready to tools also that we need for this project. So we've talked about the best press. Again, it is a tool. It's very important. We need our regular rotary cutter. Give yourself the opportunity to change your blade. How many times have we finally changed our blade and went, oh, we should have did this a long time ago? Your sewing machine, give it a good cleaning, pet it, dusting, change your needle.
Check your manual to see if your machine needs oil.
That's right. Did you hear my repair person? Check your manual. Make sure that if you have to oil your machine, give it a good oil. Get ready to go. Life is so much easier if everything's working well. If you don't remember the last time it is you changed your needle, change your needle. It just happened to me last week. It was absolutely hilarious. All the ladies in the class were laughing because I says to Tiff, I says, I know my machine has to be serviced. It hasn't done it in a while. I says, but Tiff, I think we're going to have to bump it up the list because it's really making some weird noises and it's not sewing properly. And the one lady in the class looked at me and says, well, what you always tell us, it was, did you change your needle? And I looked at her and I looked at Tiff and it was just like, yeah, when did we change the needle? She goes, you made all those pajamas, zippers. Hit a zipper. I took my needle out of my machine. It had a little bend in it. And there was actually a burr on the bottom. Changed my needle. The machine is wonderful again. So give yourself that opportunity. Change your blade, change your needle. Wash and press your fabric. Tools that we need. If you did the sew along with us last year, you probably have most of the tools that you need. So we're going to need a 6x24 or a 6.5x24, just our regular needle ruler so that we can cut our strips for whatever strips we have. We are going to need a Tucker trimmer. Tucker trimmer 1. Tucker trimmer 3, if that's all you have, it is exactly the same. It's just a 12-inch, so we can use just the corner. But the one, because it's a smaller ruler, makes it a little bit easier to use. This will be instrumental when we're doing the combination units. But we had that last year. We have the squared unit ruler. And some of us had that last year. So again, it's going to be so much easier to use this ruler. We also used last year Doug Lecko's folded quarter ruler.
Put something behind that.
Oh, something behind that. There it is. Can you see that? So this is the size that we had last year, which is great because we can do more with it. But he now has this mini simple folded corner ruler. So there it is there. So it will cut up to a 3.5-inch folded corner. We only need a 2.5-inch finished for this project. Also putting our binding and stuff together. Really great ruler for that. So we have those in the store as well. Now, the only ruler that we didn't use last year that we're going to use this year, this is Deb Tucker's corner beam ruler. If you have her old Spotlight ruler, if you have her own old Spotlight ruler, it's the same thing. This one just has a couple extra markings that she tweaked, and she changed the name to corner beam. Either one of them will work. So if you have a Spotlight, you don't have to purchase a corner beam. But I do recommend, this is one of the blocks that I don't want to do any other way. We're not going to template it or anything. We really want to use the ruler. Any other questions?
No, just a comment. That folded corner ruler is the best. It sits by my cutting table because I use it so much.
It sure is, isn't it? Yes. Tiff, do you want to check my notes there and see if we've gone over everything?
I
think we've done what we wanted to go over. So I have to decide whether I'm doing the blue or whether I'm doing this sticks and stone line. I'm going to cut my fabric. I'm going to take it home tonight. We're going to wash it. I'm going to do all my starching, give it a nice starching, nice pressing, and I'll be ready to start next week. So there's no other question?
No, unless there's a lag in the stream, I don't see any other questions.
Okay, perfect. So in that case, head off either to here or to your local quilt store and dig out some of your stash, whatever you like.
Or let us know if you would like a kit cut out of any of the colorways that you saw today. And we can cut a kit out of, the ones on the table, the ones that you're seeing actual fabric today. We will post more pictures on Facebook of different color options. However, they may not all have kits available. But the ones that you saw actual bolts of fabric today, we can absolutely cut from. And on that note, happy sewing, everybody. We'll see you next Monday at 1.